and then we will start off with this. Okay, so Emmanuel, I'm gonna unmute you right now. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm
Good.
good. How are
Good to
you?
have you here. Okay, Emmanuel, I'm gonna share my screen right now, and we are gonna take a look at your slide deck, just real quick, so that everybody kind of understands. How long did it take you to create what you've created and have the thing that's in front of me right now?
Including the time reading Platform Closing and studying it.
Well, sure, yeah, all of that.
That started around August. August.
Wow.
And then
Okay.
I really
So,
started to formulate this
okay.
when I signed up to MDC, which
Okay.
is mid-September. So it took me about a
Okay.
month to properly formulate it.
I see. So, would you say that you created this structure by following what was inside the book Platform Closing
To the T.
to the T? Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, guys, you hear that? So it's, look, if you want to be good at this, by now, hopefully you should have read Platform Closing, because I pretty much talk about every single slide that is in there. So let's talk about this, okay? Let's quickly go through this slide deck. This is my first time looking at this as well, so that um, I can give you guys, well, give Emmanuel feedback, and you guys are going to learn through him, okay? Okay, so first piece here is, let's take a look at the title. How to burn up to 10 kgs of fat in 12 weeks without putting it back on. Okay, so to kind of understand this market better, so know that when you have a title like this, you are going to attract a certain group of people. Okay, now what does that mean? Okay, it means that somebody like me who wants to lose belly fat will think that it's not for me. And there's nothing wrong with that if you know who your target audience is. So like a person like Peng Joon who wants to burn belly fat but does not want to lose 10 kgs will feel that this is not for me. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's only in understanding, is that the group of people that you want to attract? Okay, so Emmanuel, know that with a title like this, are the customers you want to attract people who want to burn at least 10 kgs of fat or more in 12 weeks? Do you only want to work with that group of people, or is that inaccurate?
Well, that's the reason why I put the words up to 10 kgs of fat. So I'm trying to be inclusive, but there's also a part in here that says who is this for? And in that, I'm trying to include a lot of people who just want to burn fat in general, which is that.
Okay,
So
okay.
I think,
So one thing, and this goes for all of you as well, is this, okay? So be aware of your title, because your title will determine who you attract and will also determine whether they even go to slide number 4, right? Because like for me personally, I would have been interested in this topic, which is how to burn belly fat, but I would have thought this is not for me. This is only probably for people that's like really fat, who wants to burn up to 10 kgs of fat. And I thought, oh, it's probably not for me. Okay, so like the burn up to 10 kgs of fat would have turned me away. And again, there's nothing wrong with that if you know who it is that you want to target. However, this would have been more appealing to people like me that wants to burn belly fat, if it was about like how to burn stubborn belly fat in 12 weeks without putting back on, without giving up your favorite foods or weird dieting programs or something, right? So like just think about your title, because your title will determine who it is that you attract. Okay, even though you could have different intentions. Okay, how is this different? Now over here, one thing that I tell people all the time is that people can only listen to you or read at the same time, but most people cannot do both. Now I know you sent me, this is in PDF format, but what I'm saying over here is, in your PowerPoint right now, are you creating these things as an animation or transition?
No, it's just straight slide deck.
Okay, so one thing that you want to be doing is you want to make sure, like, when it's in your presentation in PowerPoint, this needs to be like, how is this different? And right now, like, this thing is empty. And then when you click it once, item number 1 appears. When you click it another time, item number 2 appears. And when you click it the third time, item number 3 appears. So that they can't read it before you are covering that point. So that's when you're going to say, so how is this different? Well, number 1, most trainers will use a one-size-fits-all technique to help you exercise, but not to burn fat. So what makes this different is yada, yada, yada. The second thing that makes it different, and then that's only when it actually appears. Okay, so this goes for all of you. If you have text-heavy slides, number 1, try to avoid text-heavy slides. And number 2, if you do have a lot of text in there because you feel it's important or relevant, then make sure that it is some sort of animation. Okay. So how is this different? Okay. I'm looking at number 2 here. Perhaps, okay, first of all, why don't you explain to us, how is this different? What's these two?
Okay,
Go ahead.
so the first one says other trainers will use one size fits all techniques. And what that means is here in Australia, or what I've seen around the world, is personal trainers will just teach their clients how they personally train themselves. And it doesn't really personalize to the client. So big box gyms like F45, like Vision Personal Training, they all follow like systematic ways. It's like one size fits all and just cram as many people into that system as possible. It doesn't really need to the individual, and
Yep.
so it doesn't really help people burn fat. It just helps people exercise.
Okay.
The second one is we're heavily invested in our education. So where a lot of other personal trainers will just stop their education at their certification level, we're constantly spending a lot of money back into learning like the true science behind weight loss, like the true science behind fat loss and how to properly optimize fat loss through resistance training, things like that. And then the third one is we're really passionate about not just losing weight and not just losing fat, but learning how to do it in a way that prevents fat from coming on again.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of trainers, a lot of people out there will just train you to lose weight in general. And the moment that you leave the gym, you leave their experience, you'll just rebound and put the weight back on. So that's our approach.
Okay. So, okay. So know that, and this goes for everybody. How is this different? Is actually a way to hook their interest so that they actually stay throughout the entire presentation. So when it comes to these bullet points on how is this different, this is actually where you are, it's actually just, it's copywriting. It's selling them why they should be staying. So
Right.
for example, latest up-to-date information is not sexy enough for a person like to say, oh wow, latest up-to-date information is like um it's dry. Okay, so like one thing we want to do in the how is this different is to have some sort of curiosity hook, um so that people like, wow, I want to listen to this entire thing. Okay, so for example, okay, I'm totally making this up, would be like, well, in a way, I'm kind of not as well, but it would be like, why spending, like, how is this different? Number one, I'm going to show you why spending long hours at the gym on a treadmill is actually making you fat and not actually helping you lose weight. Like going on the,
That's my secret number one.
right? That's a secret number one. Okay, so like, right? So, okay, so like show them like, and I know that that will probably shock most of you, but I'm gonna back it up and show you exactly why that is the case. So actually, I really like that as secret number one. Okay, so that's, yeah. So give them like, I want there to be like some sort of shock, like, wow, really? Like, how does
Yeah.
that work, right? So rather than saying latest up to date information and we're heavily invested in our education, talk about like, make it some sort of curiosity based statement so that it'll be, I gotta listen to what this guy has to say. Okay, and that's
Mhm.
the part of how is this different. Okay, so my goal for this presentation is using resistance training, um, and make sure you don't rebound your weight through understanding how to correctly use and train using resistance training. Okay, um, is your offer a course on using resistance training? Get it?
The offer is correct. So that's my vehicle. That's my vehicle, resistance training.
Okay,
But yeah.
so um, so with these two sentences over here, nothing wrong with that. But the only thing with this is when you reveal that it's resistance training, here's what happens. A person who's now listening 10 minutes into your webinar right now is thinking, oh, resistance training? Yeah, but resistance training is probably not for me because I want to look toned. And resistance training, now remember this, right? Most people don't even know what they don't know. So in their minds, they have a picture. When you say resistance training, there will be a percentage of people, which is in their minds right now, their image that's being formed in their minds is resistance training equals this huge, juiced up dude lifting really heavy weights. And now in their mind would be, what? Resistance training? But I don't want to bulk up. I just want to lose weight. Um, and resistance training is probably not for me. Okay, so the way we want to create our presentations is not by revealing our hand. Right now, what we are doing over here is we're revealing our hand, and when we reveal our hand, that is when the audience will judge and have their own belief systems kick in on whether it's the right solution or not. So we don't want to do that just yet because we haven't educated or informed them yet. We want to introduce resistance training later when we talk about the concept in the story, how you developed and transitioned from doing cardio like what everybody else is doing and realizing, wow, resistance training is the way to go. But we do not want to reveal that here because this is too early. If you reveal that in here, then that's when people are going to judge it. So a thing that you want to be doing on this step right now is to think about, my goal for you on this presentation is to show you how you can effectively lose weight using this strategy. And I promise you, it's not what you think. It's not the long hours at the gym. It is not trying to spend an hour on the cardio machine, it is not by using some fancy TRX movement, right?
Mm.
And you're just gonna throw rocks at the red ocean, but without revealing it yet, so that in their minds will be like, then what is it? I want to know what it is. Okay. So now you're able to hook them in by showing them what it's not, but without revealing the hand. Okay. Now you might notice that this might be different. For example, um, it really depends on the market, right? So for those of you that's listening in on this, know that not all markets are like this. So for me, if let's say I'm talking about live events, my goal for this presentation would be to show you how you can run profitable live events, even if you've never done a live event before. Now, you might say that I'm revealing my hand and I'm telling people that the vehicle is live event, and that's fine because that's what the webinar is. Okay. But I'm not revealing my hand by showing them something that they can judge it upon. Does that make sense? So that's the only tweak I will have over here. Make it still curiosity based. Who is this for? Overweight, want to lose weight, happy with their weight and want to tone. People want to get rid of their love handles, maintain a healthy lifestyle, eating foods that they love. So the only change I will make in this piece over here is, oh man, give me a sec. I just want to make sure it's recording. Pause recording. Is it recording? Yeah, it is. Okay. Okay. So for this step over here, who is this for? The only thing to take note of is number 2 over here is if you really want this group of people, which is people who are happy with their weight and want to tone. As well as number 4. I think what we want to narrow down, and again, there's nothing wrong with number 2, number 4, is just I want to understand who are the people you really want to target. So as long as anybody, is it people who want to get 6-pack abs? Like, can you describe who is the ideal person you want to target?
So it would be corporate workers who live unhealthy lifestyles, who have disposable income, are aged between 25 and 55, who haven't devoted much time at all, who are relatively new to the gym and are struggling to lose weight and are just spending endless hours on cardio or, quote unquote, playing sports on the weekend. Those are the people that I believe have the money and who would be willing to invest in a service like this.
Okay, great. So here's what people don't know. You're going to talk about your story, right?
Yes.
I'm guessing this is the struggles as well as successes
Mm-hmm.
in recent times, okay, before and after. What I'm trying to show you is that if I can do it, you can do it too, and I'll show you how. So are you are you currently working in a gym, head coach? Is that what you do right now?
Correct. I'm the head coach at a gym and I have 3 trainers working for me right now.
Ah, I see. Okay. So very nice. So you talk about your gym and what is that you guys do?
And this is the concept.
Like personal training is going to get you much faster results.
Correct.
Got it? Okay. Um, the really hard way. Okay, so okay. This is again, if you want to illustrate something, okay. Again, just make sure that's in transition and
Yeah.
animated. Okay. Um, Okay, so here's the thing that's contradicting over here. What is the goal that you want them to do? Because it says here, plan B is the easy way, but step number one of the easy ways to get a personal trainer. Is your goal to get them to get a personal trainer? Because then they'll be thinking like, so what do I need to buy a course? I'm just gonna get a personal trainer.
Good. So I suppose because my product that I'm selling is product slash service. So it's called Permanent Fat Loss Formula. It's
Okay.
revealed later on down the track, but it's actually fortnightly calls with my trainers alongside um, an online product where it has modules that people can walk through. And when you were going through a few weeks ago what we're going to include in this concept, like you were saying, stuff like what you're going to get, then you do two done for yous and you do two done with yous. That's what I formulated around. And the coaching calls are the main thing that they get. It's the main product.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, good point. The only thing now is that when I look at this, your biggest number one competitor is an actual real life personal trainer. Because now you've sold them on all these different things. And now it would be okay, but Emmanuel told me to get a personal trainer. So why don't I just take that amount and spend it on a personal trainer at my gym instead? So unless you actually answer that objection, because right now over here, you are creating an objection. You are creating competition for yourself because you are telling them get a personal trainer. And unless you do you have a section later on that talks about why it's actually a lot more effective to work with you than a personal trainer. This might be, boxing yourself in. Is there a section later that you talk about why? Because now when you sell them on this piece over here, they are thinking that objection that you're going to have, and it's probably going to be a hard time answering it later, would be, so why don't I just go with my personal trainer at my gym that's near me, that can see me in person? That's your number one competitor.
Mm.
Do you have a piece answering that objection, or not yet?
Outside of the proof that we've done it through testimonials,
Uh-huh.
no, no.
I see. Okay, so what I would do and I think about, because this is an unsolved piece. While this is, you know, one thing that everybody should be aware of, okay, all of you listening in, is that what separates the top marketers in the world, you've heard me say this before, is you're always thinking, is something you just taught, did it just create an objection? And this is an objection that was created, right? Because you told them to get a personal trainer. So now be okay, I'm just going to do what Emmanuel told me. I'm going to get a personal trainer, but I'm going to work with the personal trainer at my gym instead because it's the price point's like nearly the same. And even if it's not, even if it's cheaper to go with you, people might not see that. People will not be sold by a cheaper price point, even if it is cheaper. Okay. Um, so think about how you can actually answer this objection, either by saying that you're gonna get much faster results when you have somebody to guide you, which is still different from a personal trainer. Um, or you could say the really hard way would be like, yeah, but this needs to be tweaked or at least answered later in the presentation. Okay, let's take a look at the top three secrets. Just put a mental note in there as something to work on to make it better. Okay, and the next one is training secrets, why endless cardio is keeping you fat. Okay, I like that. Foolproof training system, how anyone can burn tons of fat despite age. Background demographics, fitness model secrets, how competitive winning fitness models spend their time throughout the week, making sure that they stay lean. Okay, so secret number one. Okay, so this is where I'm guessing you're gonna show different groups of people, right? Okay, this is great. I like this. You're gonna show the people with great bodies, which is usually the rugby players, sprinters, swimmers, and then like the people that looks anorexic, people who are like the triathlons, right? I actually think this is great because, like personally for me, like 15 years ago, I actually did not know this. So this is actually a great point to cover. Great point. Um, and why resistance training? So um, I really like this example in here. So now you are selling them the vehicle, right? So this over here is really the vehicle, which is resistance training. Is that accurate?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Um, so now over here, the only thing I would do is this is the best part to showcase before after pictures, right? Like in weight loss, nobody wants to see, well, not saying nobody wants, but the words are not going to be nearly as powerful as just, hey, here's Jason Gray before when he was working like crazy, an hour on the treadmill every single day, but saw no results. But here's him after, just after 3 months, 6 months, after he added resistance training into his routine. Okay, before after. There's nothing going to be more powerful than before afters. Right now it's just one picture of him that like looking at this, I don't know if like if you showed me his before, then I'll be convinced. Because right now, like this could be either before or after. Okay,
Mm.
so it's going to be a lot more powerful when you show before after. And usually you can't use before after in Facebook ads, but this is a webinar. This is when you should be hammering in before afters to really show the power of resistance training.
Mhm.
Okay, so add that in there because that is where it's going to be really, really powerful. Okay, secret number two, how anyone can burn tons of fat. Okay, walk us through this piece over here because
So
I
that's
think,
my framework for permanent fat loss formula.
okay,
Yeah, it's my framework. And what I'm doing here is the way that you're going to burn tons of fat, no matter what age or gender or demographic you are, is following this four-step system that we've developed over the course of 4 years of being a personal trainer. And it's really designed and needs to work with anyone, no matter who you are, no matter how old you are, no matter where you come from, etc., etc., etc. So if you follow these four steps, then by far, like definitely, you'll be able to get results.
okay. Over here is it looks technical. Okay, so yes, there's calories in here, and then it looks from a first glance that you are asking them to eventually consume less and less calories per day. Is that correct?
I'm not actually talking about that on this slide, though. I'm
Okay.
just talking generally about the 4 points and sort of the change in resistance training. That framework there, I can actually just take it out. So if you don't think that that's a good idea, then I can take it out.
Um,
I'm not actually talking about the calories at this point. No.
I see. Okay, so if you're not talking about it, remember everything that you put up on the slide either brings people closer to a sale or it doesn't. So what's happening over here right now is that there's a lot like when I look at this slide, my eyes are all over the place. Like I don't know what I should be looking at, which is what your audience will be feeling when you're looking at this slide. And that's never a good feeling. So if you know that it is 4 stages, then show them. Like, did you know that when it comes to burning tons of fat, is really just 4 stages. Okay, so like I would remove this entire left hand side over here, which is like, all these different calories, because people might not even understand like what this means at this point, and you do not want them in a confused state. People in a confused state never buy. So, for example, when you talk about, so secret number 2 to burning fat is understanding that burning fat consists of 4 movements. The first step is understanding basic movements, and understanding like, what are different type of, I don't know, muscle groups and stuff like that, right? After you understand like the basic movements, how do you turn your own body, and utilize, free weights. I'm guessing like this is where you use your own body, and this is where you're able to use free weights. Is that it?
Yeah, so that's when we transition them to use dumbbells and barbells, really basic stuff.
Dumbbell. Yep, dumbbells and barbells. And okay, this is good. So like the reason why now you're able to bring this up, dumbbells and barbells, is because you already mentioned dumbbells and barbells in secret number 1, right? Resistance training. So the only thing I would mention over here is that when you teach this secret number 2, you want to make it like understood to the masses, because they might not understand what it means. Okay, so like tell us, fat loss acceleration and fat loss firestorm. What is that? What is step number 3 and 4?
So that is when we start to incorporate overload techniques such as supersets, such as trisets, such as giant sets, and we work them up to doing more volume in a shorter amount of time with minimal breaks. So all fat loss firestorm is just fat loss acceleration on steroids. It's just more reps, more volume, more compact movements, minimal break.
I see. And is this part of your training? Is that why you have this framework in here, 4 steps?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So what I would do is I would think about creating this framework that shows them like, maybe like, there's, just kind of imagine like 1, 2, 3, 4. One would be like, over here would be like greens, like beginner, right? So no matter where you're at in your fitness level right now, if you have never worked out a single day in your life, that's where you begin. Understanding basic movements, how your own body works, and what are different movements, utilizing your own body weight. Then space number 2, once you understand that, that's when we move you on to different free weights, understanding how to work, use dumbbells, barbells. Number 3, we're gonna push. It's about pushing it further. So it's like you explain to people what the 4-step process is. Okay, but at the same time, remember this. Okay, when you teach this, if you go deep into it, what is the objection you create? The objection would be, so now that I've learned that these are the 4 steps, why don't I just do it myself? Okay, and that is where you want to have like something that answers those objections. Like, did you know that a lot of people hurt themselves and injure themselves because they try to do it on their own, and they do it with the wrong form? Okay, and that's why you want to have like somebody to guide you, especially if you're just starting out, or something along those lines, so that they understand that they still need you. That makes sense?
Yes. Yes. Clear.
Okay, so same thing, case studies of all these different people. All these people, you need to have a before after if possible, because first of all, when you show all these different case studies, it's that people don't want to read the words. It's too much, and people can't see if this was the before or after. The truth is, like, this could be somebody who just walked into the gym saying, "Hey, Emmanuel, I would like to start working out today." It's really hard to tell. Like, and the last thing you want is for somebody that's listening to you feeling skeptical, like, um, and so show them the before after. If not, don't include that in, because it's hard to see a transformation, or at least, yeah. So before and afters will work wonders over here.
Okay.
Okay. what separates us, you're going to talk about. So why is this slide in between secret 2 and 3?
This is the haymaker bonus. You talked about this in
Right.
platform code.
Okay, got it. Um, Great. So what I would like, I see. Okay, so this is where you're going to talk about a story on like supplements or what?
Correct. So
Yeah.
in this slide, I'm saying there are lots of BS out there in terms of supplements and what supplement marketing companies want you to do is just buy as much of them as possible. But
Mhm.
what separates us from other personal training companies is that we actually know the three supplements that actually work, and that's enabled our clients to get massive results, as you're seeing
I
right
see.
now on the slides.
Okay, makes sense. Um, Secret number 3, how fitness models are winning. I see. Is this where you're showing them all these weird as seen on TV gadgets?
So with secret number three, the objection is I might not have time and I might not have money. Here, I'm trying to educate them on what top winning athletes do throughout their week to make sure they stay in top condition all the time. And I'm
Mhm.
saying people like Roger Federer, they invest in coaches, cryotherapy, sports nutritionists, uh, sports physiotherapists, like the whole lot. And
Yep.
then people like your friends and family, me and you, they
Yep.
don't get results because they're doing stuff like running around the block, just buying home sit-up machines, they're buying cheap gym memberships, they're researching free information online. And as a result, because they're not invested in time and money, they're not able to get the result. They're not able to get the lean body that they're after.
Okay, this is where you could potentially be creating another objection over here, which is, huh, I don't know if I want to spend so much money um, on my own body because now it would be like very disempowering. I would prefer the angle if you say, look, somebody like Roger Federer spent hundreds and thousands of dollars on his own body performance to make sure that it's always at the peak condition because he's a professional athlete. You and me, on the other hand, what if I told you that we don't need to be like Roger Federer? We don't need to be um, spending the amount of money he's spending on his body, but we must be willing to invest some sort of time and monetary commitment if we are committed to our success. So um, even
Right.
like, so I would show this example over here, but I want us to be answering objection of can I still do this even if I don't have the time and money? And the last thing you want is to show people I don't have the time, I don't have the money, and therefore you can't do it. Because right now, from what I see over here, is you're trying to convince people to come up with the time and money. And that's a hard sell. A much easier sell that in fact would be more empowering would be, look, did you know that to have a really effective workout, it's not about having a whole lot of time. In fact, a great workout can actually be under 30 minutes or less. Okay. Um, or 45 minutes. Or so rather than trying to sell people that, hey, you need to create time if you want to have the body of your dreams, a much easier sell that would be more empowering would be, hey, it's about being effective with your workout and it's not about spending tons of time on a really long workout.
Okay.
Yeah. So the summary of this two piece here is it's going to be a really tough sell trying to ask people cough up like this. That's what this angle is trying to come up the money and trying to create time, um, rather than saying, hey, a really good workout does not require expensive gym. So even like this, like over here by bashing cheap gym memberships, um, I wouldn't go that route because you and me, we know that a person can still get a really good workout at a cheap gym, right? You know, the gyms who have no towel service, that has got like, you know, it's just fan, and but that's where like those um people who are getting a lot of results, they could be still members of a cheap gym membership. So this is good. You know, this is good as well. Those home push-up, sit-up machines as seen on TV gadgets, all these are good. But I would not go the route of, you know, like cheap gym memberships. I don't think throwing rocks at cheap gym memberships would be a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So like over here, by saying like low financial investment equals no time investment equals no results, um, I would go a different route from this. It would be that results is not dependent on how much time you spend in the gym, because remember this, a huge objection people have is I don't have time to go to the gym. My time is, you know, I'm already filled with the kids, my family, my job, and all these different things. And now what you're trying to sell them is make time for the gym, which is a tough sell. Rather than selling make time for the gym, it's much more empowering sell to say, hey, a great workout does not require a lot of time. You just need to have the right tools, the right system, the right strategies, and the right the right coaches in your life, so that you don't have to spend a ton of time in the gym. That's
Okay.
a lot more empowering. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So same thing here, before, after, top 3 secrets. So can you do this? Here's what you're gonna get. Um, okay, so over here, the next thing I would change is make it a stack. Okay, so like um, one thing that people do is people forget. So when you are explaining, here's item one, here's item two, here's item three, four, and five, people forget what item one and two is by the time you come to item number five. So what I want to see is here's item number one, and then what you're gonna get, which is just this, right? The first over here, the first thing over here. And then like item number two is this thing, and then after that come to the stack again, so that people can see here's item number one and number two, and here's total value. Here's item number three. Item number three, you talk about item what number three is, and then, you know, building up the value. So that's basically the stack. So that now, those of you who've heard me talk about the stack, when I first started out, I always felt it was very cheesy, like I didn't like it. And I can tell you, every single time that I didn't use the stack, I didn't make as much money. Okay, so use the stack.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, I'm just looking in the stack right now, real quick. Why is item number one so much more than all of the other components?
Uh, because that is time that you get with a physical person as opposed to just a digital thing that you can access at any time. And if you go back, yeah, so it's actually it's valued at 330 per week.
I see.
Um, yeah, and I did that over the cost of 1 year. So I just multiplied it by uh, 52. So that's why it's so much higher.
I see. Okay. Now, so one of the things that I will definitely do to sell this is this, okay? So in your secret one, two, and three, I would actually say, you know, one of the things you could incorporate is, did you know that when it comes to creating results, it's not just about the techniques and knowing what to do at the gym, but creating an environment that keeps you accountable to your results. Secret number whatever, two or three, is if you want to have long lasting results, it is to help shape your own environment, to create an environment so that you are accountable to somebody. have you ever felt that you got a much more uh, have you ever felt that you got more from a workout when you trained with a friend, when you had a workout buddy at the gym, rather than doing it yourself? Of
Mm.
course, right? Because it's going to be way easier when we're held accountable to somebody else. Have you ever experienced a time when you didn't feel like going to the gym, but because you already promised your friend, your buddy, that you meet them at the gym, and it was a direct result of that, you went to the gym? So one thing that you want to be doing to create long-lasting results when it comes to your fitness journey is to have somebody to keep you accountable to your results. So if you are able to have that as part of your learning material, as part of your content, that is when you come here, it's going to be a much easier sell. So no, you're no longer selling the master coach calls, because this is just a vehicle. Coaching calls is not a sexy thing. However, the sexy thing is keeping your results accountable to somebody else. That's
Sure.
the thing that makes sense. Okay. So in order to make this an easy sell, make sure that in your secret 1, 2, and 3, you talk about creating an environment that allows them to be accountable to somebody else. Um, exercise programs every 4 weeks.
So these are my two done for you items. So we're going to do the exercise programs, and we're also going to do their nutrition plan for them as well.
Okay. So every 4 weeks, we get a new exercise program. Is that it?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So maybe in order to make this an easy sell, you could be talking about, like, in step number 2, when you talk about like the 4 different steps, you could say like one of the things that helps people get faster results if you are constantly confusing your own muscles. I call this muscle confusion, which is basically to shock your body every time your body gets used to a certain particular movement, to change things up so that it shocks your body. So you're creating muscle confusion, okay, or something like that. So now it would be like, remember we talked about how to create lasting results. You need to constantly create change in your body. So this is where every 4 weeks we're going to vary things up so that's interesting for you, but at the same time it's causing confusion in your muscles to give you much faster accelerated results. Okay. um yeah, so same thing with the action. So same thing with action plan. If you include something that's in here, make sure you talk about this in your teaching material. Oh, training app. So is this where they key in their results and you actually can see their results?
Correct. So this is my first done with you thing. So as opposed to them, keeping track of their results on pen and paper and losing that, it's all stored in one place, and they communicate with the trainer through the app, and everything's stored in that one digital place on their phone, where they always have access to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, the master classes, which is what the different movements they have to make. Is that it?
Yeah, correct. So there are a lot of people that, uh, because it is an online course, they still need to study the movement
Yep.
by themselves
Okay.
through membership access area, which is this.
I see. Okay, so the piece that I would work on over here is, rather than showing them like this graphical image, I would like you to kind of show them the bank, like the bank of videos that's in there, so that they can see like this is the incline bench press. This is
Sure.
the yeah, yeah, all these different things. So be like, oh wow, like I need to learn, how that is done. Okay.
Okay.
Same thing with like the action plan and all of that. I would like or the exercise programs, like show them like the worksheets, like where or like the thing that they get. So like one of the things that I always like is like showing them a mix of the graphics, but also like the thing they will get, because it's hard to visualize what it is if you don't show it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So have a balance of that as well.
Cool.
Okay. Six-pack physique. Okay. Like what would be really powerful is rather than using an image of somebody else or a stock image, like this needs to be you. This needs to be you shredded with the six-pack abs standing in here. Then it's super powerful. Okay.
Yeah.
And that is another thing over here. Okay, let's see. The close 199. Okay, if you're going 199, which is the first option over here, don't say this, which is like, this is good if you decide to go with the second option, right? So for those of you that decide to go with the high ticket, it's okay to say a higher investment so that we only work with serious people. For those of you that's going with the low option, okay, the second option would be to charge my usual one-on-one coaching fee, which is, just mention some really high price that, and then after that, like, I decided to go with the first option so that I can reach as many people as I can. But by saying this, and when you say I decided to go with the first option, you're saying that they're not serious. Because you're saying here that the second option, so that we only work with serious people.
Yeah, I see that.
And
I
then,
see that
right, and then it's like, oh, I decided to go with the first option. So what does that mean? It means that they're not serious, right? So
now. Okay.
change the languaging in that. Okay. Okay, so this over here is selling them what it would look if they did take action. A much more powerful piece is what is it costing them if they don't take action. So many times marketers try to sell what it
Vision
would
of
look
heaven.
like if they take action. But also mention like the flip side. What is it costing you right now in terms of how you feel, your energy levels, your health, as a result of continuing what you're doing right now in your lifestyle. So don't just sell what life would be like if they took action. Talk about what is the cost of inaction. Because sometimes cost of inaction is actually costing them a lot more. Okay, so that's the other thing that you want to take action, to mention. I actually think you're selling this for way too cheap.
This is a week. This is a week.
Oh, this is a week. I see. Okay, so how much is the main thing that you are selling for? Because it says here, just get it start. Like, what's the actual price point?
That. That's on a weekly basis.
Oh,
Direct
I
debit.
see. So you want to charge 199 in perpetuity? Is that correct?
On Stripe, so a constant direct debit every Thursday
I see.
for being active. Yeah, while you're doing the coaching calls.
Is this price point a proven model in the fitness market?
I don't know.
Okay.
I asked that question on the Facebook group and I didn't get a response. So
Okay.
I just said, like, fuck, let's just roll with that.
Okay. Now, the only issue with this price point, it means that it's 800. Is this in Australian dollars or US dollars?
US. It will be US.
Okay. So I, I can tell you that at 800 US dollars, in some countries, that would be like a full-time personal trainer that will attend to me, um, including the gym membership. Um, and that is what you're up against. Okay. Now, you need to know where you stand in terms of what their other options are. So at 800 US dollars a month, a person is thinking, and I have spent more than that in personal training a month. So I know who are the people you want to target. Okay, I know there's a market for that, but know that people who can afford $800 a month in personal
Already
training,
paying.
correct, they would be thinking, well, why don't I get the top trainer in my local gym who's willing to train me, 2, 3 times a week at $800 a month. That is what you're up against, right? So a good trainer could be approximately, I don't know, $100 an hour. Well, depends on where you're at, right? But so that's 8 sessions right there. So that's 2 times a week with a good personal trainer that is decently priced, assuming they're $100 an hour. So even at that price point, $100 an hour, that is what you're up against. So that is actually a very big objection, which is like, why don't I spend $800 on a personal trainer instead?
Mm.
Um, so if you want to differentiate, I would suggest decreasing what in your offer. The thing that I can see that takes up your time is item number one, right? Is that part scalable? This thing here? How long are you?
The idea was to get my current coaches who work for me right now to do the coaching calls. And in that way, this becomes really, really scalable for me. And at the same time, it's differentiating from things like Iron Mastery, which is just I pay once, but I don't really have that human face-to-face support.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Um, I feel that your number one competitor is the personal trainer at the gym. And if you are charging a price that is comparable to them, which will make your audience decide, so why don't I get a personal trainer instead? I believe that it's it's a very tough sell when you're competing directly against the personal trainer at the gym, because that's what you're doing. You're selling personal training, but it's online.
Yeah.
So if you want to be able to compete with the personal trainer at the gym, you want to be able to either, like, I'm looking at this, I'm thinking $800 a month is a bit too much, because that's what people will be thinking.
Yeah. Oh, that number doesn't have to be 199. I just pulled that out of a hat.
I see.
Yeah.
If
Like that's how much we charge right now. Like if you were to go to my gym and I was to pitch you on personal training, that would be the rate.
Yes, because that's because I get to see you in
Yeah.
person, right? So um so that's the difference, because they get to see you in person. So I would change it so that it's, try $199 a month, or
Sure.
or 2000 a year. I would start with that. 199 a month or 2000 a year, so that there are these two different price points. Um yeah. And
My only problem with that is the cost of labor in Sydney in Australia is really high. So
I
at that price point, I wouldn't be making bang for buck. Would you advise that I just make this completely human free and do something like Iron Mastery, where it's
Yes.
just infinitely scalable?
Yes, 100%. I would make it so that ultimately having an online offer is to have that thing first, so that, because when you have like labor and man hours in place, that's when it really complicates things. So remove that human touch first, because if you had the human touch, it increases your cost and makes you go head to head against other personal trainers.
Can I just say something on that? That's the reason why I'm going online because my labor right now in my gym is way too high, and I'm looking for another solution. So I guess that was like a message in a time that I really needed to hear. So thanks for that.
Yeah, yeah, like, yeah, free up I mean, that's the whole power of bringing it online, right? So that it brings the costs down.
Cool, cool.
Okay. Wow, guys, we're nearly 2 hours in. I know, like, for many of you, you handed us stuff, but I wanted to go deep into this presentation. So based on what was covered today, please incorporate the different things that I talked about in your very own presentation. continue to hand that in so that I can take a look and my team will filter it and decide which ones for me to look at as well. Okay, guys, I got to get ready. I got to go to Santa Barbara today. I want to thank all of you for being here today. I hope that this session has given you value. Again, I truly believe this is one of the most important pieces in online marketing that every top marketer in the world has mastered, and that's what you want to be doing as well. But it is a journey. I will see all of you 2 weeks from now. I am still going to be here in the US at that time, and yep, I am not going to be on a flight. So even though it's going to be 6 a.m. for me, the show still goes on. And I hope that you guys do whatever it takes to be there. Thank you all for being here. And I will see all of you 2 weeks from now. Appreciate you guys. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, Peng Joon.
All right. Thank you guys. Bye bye.